So Jimmy, you're here to basically show a little bit of what he does.
We've been talking, like, so all day today we've shown a lot what was going on with the build, right? Like, we talked about the barricades, we've shown where we are in the game right now.
Yes.
And now we talk a little bit about what our plans are and kind of the tuning that we do behind the scenes. I'm one of the guys that does that. Realistically, our decisions that are made to tune these things are collaborative. Every once in a while I'm like, let's try this first, and usually people are like, no.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, a lot of stuff we're going to show here is a lot of data related. Instead of just going into like what I'm referencing to see what the code's doing versus happening inside of data, we're just going to talk about what the end result is in game. I'll change some of that stuff. You met a couple of the tool programmers. Sorry, it's been a long day.
It's code grammars.
Code grammars. The graham crackers?
Graham motors.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know.
But a lot of the guys that work on the tools here, we have a tool in-house called Design Tool, which interfaces with a central database that allows us to tune a lot of these variables. And when we build out, it'll export a lot of these to plain text and then be encoded. And server checks all that for validity, makes sure it matches up. A lot of really complicated stuff. Yada yada yada. How's the monitor look like? Can you actually see the monitor from the camera? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I just didn't know, but
now I can.
now you can.
Thanks for going right in front of it.
So real quick, let me pull a couple of these things up. I want to make sure I get the right item stuff. This is the boring side of things for a lot of you guys. Different game companies use different types of ways to tune things. Some use like XML-based files. Some use database stuff, and this is the boring part for a lot of you guys. So for now, I am just going to see if I can get the proper items I need to tune. And I'm going to just quickly grab a pistol and the AR. I'm going to show you guys a few of the tuning values that we'll be using to get the right feel that we want, the proper ballistics, some of our debug commands there. And let's go a little bit further full screen.
There we go.
Actually, just got an email saying the main's going to go down where we build. Where is my pistol? Did it not work?
How to video game.
How to video game, somebody?
I don't know. I think you add the pistol and then you add the ammo.
There it goes. I got it. All right. I was just trying to get it out there. Okay, so essentially our goals with the combat behind this game are going to be much slower than DayZ. And right now we're on the planet side backend, so a lot of our stuff is still from that as far as like our actual network and everything. So, for example, like the first-person arms right now are completely attached to the screen. So what you're seeing there is these arms will always follow it.
Can you change time of day?
Sure, yeah, we can do that. Bam. So what we want to move towards is a more weighted character. That's why right now you see some of the movement acceleration values. So going from a dead stop further on up takes, I think something like right now I have it at 1.8 seconds. And as you move around, we don't want the character to be so rigid. Like the arms won't be directly stuck here. Your head's going to turn independently from the arms and that sort of thing. That's where we're headed as far as a feel for the game. So your YOLO 180 no scope headshots are going to be a lot more difficult.
If you pull it off in this game, you are a god.
You are a god. Guys like Lyric, which I'm a big fan of, avid watcher of the stream, gets insane in DayZ, and like
he makes that game look like he's playing Call of Duty.
It does, and it's really hard. It's a really hard thing to master. And this game will be about the same. A big difference from what you're used to in this genre is we're going to be going for a recoil base of gameplay. And if I turn on debug projectiles here, let's make sure it actually worked. It did. So we're going to take a look at kind of the exterior ballistic stuff we're using.
Check out the projectile that you just shot so people can see.
It goes, I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but you can see the origin of the bullet. We're going to see kind of how it travels across a path. Right now we do have the ability to tune the initial vector of the bullet. So when you actually fire a bullet from a gun, you're not going to fire that thing straight out. It actually has a little bit of an arc to it. And barrels are rifled, so the bullets spin. So it gets a little bit more flight out of it and has different characteristics based on the caliber. So we'll be tuning a lot of that stuff. And that's typically what I do. So right now, last build you guys saw when we were shooting at zombies, a lot of people were like, are they going to do a default zoom? That's something I'm playing with right now. We're actually going to pull out the default zoom right now. There's no FOV shift on iron sights. So different weapons based on their iron sights and position, the player will hold them.
Really? It doesn't actually
like
Z-axis in or out?
Right, yeah, right. And I control along with the animators, like I can move the Z-axis around for where the gun's being held, but sometimes it looks bad, so we need the animations to match that.
Okay.
But right now this is about where it is. We're not going to be doing any sort of FOV shifts, any sort of zooms, and realistically this is very static. We want this to move around a little bit, get a little bit of sway, but we're not going to do that in the crosshair because the gun's going to be firing from the barrel, not exactly where the crosshair is always pointing. You'll be more reliant on your iron sights than you are what's in the middle of your screen, which is essentially
you actually have to aim down sights.
Yeah, you don't have to necessarily. Like, you can shoot from the hip. You get a general idea of where it's going to go, but it's not always going to be that directly to the middle of the screen. Depends on where your gun is positioned. The reason why we're detaching the head from the arms, so let's say that we turn left really fast. Like right now you can see a little bit of a shift, but realistically the head's going to turn this way and the gun's going to follow shortly after at a different rate, depending on the size of the weapon you have. If you're breaching a building and you have a massive gun, it's going to be hard to turn those corners really fast, so it will turn a little bit slower. It's heavier, more cumbersome. Pistols and some of your smaller weapons, even some of the smaller shotguns, a lot easier indoors. So when I turn, if I'm still turning and I fire, that gun's going to be behind. I'll be looking this direction, that gun will still be firing there. So you need to wait for that to align and really put more thought into when and how you're engaging things, because in the end we want this to be a very tactical, decision-based game. There's going to be consequences for even just shooting. Like you need to pay not just how much noise it makes, but
I was getting a lot of questions from players about military tactics and military sims and military shooters and all of that, and they were very concerned about the weapons being, you know, twitchy and not on point for what they're expecting. So I'm sure they'll be glad to hear out there that the guns will behave exactly like what you were just saying, and it'll be really skillful to kind of. And this is just with a pistol. Imagine a sniper rifle, you know.
Yeah.
Or.
And you know, right now, like we have a big contrast. We have the melee weapons in. We're trying to figure out what the best way to engage with that is going to be. We've been talking about ideas. I've been talking with the animators and code. Like Greg Spence works a lot on the combat stuff. We talked to him earlier. What we'd like to do is, would you go into melee combat, especially with fists, like. You could sucker punch someone right now because there's no ready state for the fist. Like you just go walk up to them and
all boom.
Yeah, you just walk up and you're like
hello,
right,
I'm friendly.
They see you with your hands down, but realistically all you have to do is click and they just go bam, just punch you right in the mouth, which does happen in real life. I mean, you know,
that's true.
I won't say it, but World Star Hip Hop. That's what you see on the internet all the time. But realistically, we want people to know what intentions are, so there needs to be some sort of readying to that, whether that's a chargeback with a fist for the first punch, or that's iron sights for fist is going up ready to, you know.
Hear that, Sean?
Yeah, you hear that, Sean John?
Hear that, Sean?
Sean John?
You hear that? We're talking about fists.
We're talking about them fists.
Talking about them fisticuffs.
Oh, yeah, what's up?
That's right. No, we were just talking about like kind of what we're planning here. We're talking about like right now how you can sucker punch someone, like if we're standing next to each other in game. We're like,
you want to get slaps then too.
Right. Dang, that was close. you walk up.
That would be awesome.
Right. Well,
he just slaps and walks away. You want to get slaps too, Kappa. Walks away. I'm watching it again on the stream.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I got distracted. Streamception going on over here.
Streamception. All right.
But talking about a few of the shifts that we're trying to make right now with what we have to get prepared to detach those and get the right feel for the first-person hands and arms is just yesterday I pulled out the zoom and I pulled out the FOV shifts and changed a few of the movement values, but thankfully, because of our awesome tools programmers, I no longer have to write a bunch of SQL to jump into our DB and figure out and change values. This tool will update dynamically, so I can do things like this, which is probably, it's going to look horrible. Like I can switch around a lot of this stuff as I wish.
Where'd your arms go?
Way out into the distance here. But
oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Leave that there for like a half second. No, just kidding, don't do it.
It looks so bad. But realistically, finding the proper balance here is a lot of what I do. It's honestly fairly easy to change a lot of these values, but finding the right tuning value and how that's going to feel in combat
it's a lot of balance. It's a lot of tweaking.
Sure. Yeah, that's why a lot of my time is really spent with animators and code trying to make sure that we have the proper support to get the game to feel right. My concern in this game is, I'm always the guy fighting for the basics. You know, let's make sure that we get the guns feeling right, that we have the proper weight to the character, that what people would expect out of a tactical survival shooter.
Definitely.
But I mean, something like this, like we might have a couple different pistols held different ways. 1911 is a full-size 45, so someone might hold that a little bit further. It's not a gun. It's got a decent amount of kick to it. You're not going to be holding this thing way up here, but you get something like a Beretta Compact 9mm, which obviously going to be a Beretta in our game, but a 9mm Compact might hold a little bit closer. Just based on the size of iron sights, people will hold guns a little bit differently. A firearms trainer will never tell you that, but this is a video game. Yes. So we will hold a few of these, and they will have different advantages based on that.
This guy also needs to take a lesson in trigger
safety.
Trigger safety.
That's right. Yeah, we actually troll some of the artists around because we have some prop guns. They always walk around with their finger on the trigger, like trigger safety. Slap it out of their hand, which also you don't do ever. Don't ever.
Don't slap a guy's hand when he has a gun in it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, just stay away from guns, kids.
Got it. Stay in school, kids.
That's right. But right now, I'm working still with a couple of guns you've seen on stream. We have the 1911 and we have the AR-15. Right now, it's
I like
actually
how you just like to, randomly just headshot a guy from, 150 meters.
It's at 150 meters.
NBD,
far.
one bullet, one shot.
So something else we've been tuning with a little bit, and this is a really big balancing act, is like recoil values. And I don't know if you were able to see this side, and I can actually turn the monitor a little bit. The beauty of monitor arms. If I don't turn the monitor,
this is 2014, man.
This is only a very small part of what we have. We have everything from a recoil magnitude minimum to a maximum. We have recoil recovery delays. Right now, there is 0 recovery in our game. That means once you fire a bullet and that first shot recoil kicks you up, you're not going to recover from that as a player. You need to manually pull that back down. So really, your high rate of fire weapons later on, when you start implementing those, have the advantage of a bunch of bullets down range, but you're going to have to be able to compensate for that in game. It's not just simply waiting for the cone of fire to shrink. And on that topic, we'll talk about like cylinder fire stuff a little bit later. But trying to take a look at chat. Will there be gun modification is what question that I'm seeing a lot. That's something we've talked about. One of the biggest things that we want to look at right now is durability before we start jumping into adding additions like, let's put a silencer on this weapon and like you just find one and put it on. Before we jump to that, which we'd like to do, I am really trying to make sure that we have, like all of us really, we're trying to make sure that we have the basics down. And this is a big part of it. For example, like that first shot, like you notice as I run around, I'm getting like perfect headshots every time. Like this time around, we have a first shot recoil modifier. So I was aiming about the same place I was at that zombie. I should probably turn God mode on while I'm testing this. But there's a first shot recoil now. So it's going to throw you off a little bit. And per gun, it's going to be a little different. I threw it up really high right now.
Yeah, that's like you're firing a 50 cal.
And to show you guys what that looks like without, yeah, it's like you're standing and firing a Beretta, like.
Yeah. Right, so it makes it a little harder to shoot the guys.
Sure, but I mean, like, even at this range, I'm whiffing a little bit. Like, I'm not going to be able to hit those shots at this range. But realistically, 1911 is a choice of a lot of guys that do a lot of competition and target shooting. So it's a very accurate gun. We're not realistically going to have it this high.
That's good, though. That means, if you get into a firefight with a guy at that range, it's not just going to end immediately. You need to actually have some skill with the weapon that you're holding.
Sure.
You need to understand how it fires. You need to have some practice with it. And
realistically, the skill difference is you need to be able to aim, but realistically, decision making and positioning is going to be the biggest thing between two players. It's not going to be like CS or Quake, where it's about like who reacts the fastest necessarily. It's more about when you choose to engage. If you decide to run and shoot, it's usually only for covering fire because it's going to be a large modifier.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to hit targets while you are moving. So that's definitely something else that we're trying to tune in right now. Let's see, I am taking a look at chat as I'm talking about some of this stuff. Sorry, I didn't have anything really planned here. I know that we have a lot of combat-related questions. A lot of people were concerned with the way it looks currently, and I want to talk about kind of the future of what we're dealing with here. There is bullet drop, by the way. People are asking that in chat as well. Right now, we're using we're using the actual values for 45 ACP as far as feet per second and everything else. The mass isn't tuned right just yet. But like if I shoot off into the distance, you can see right now the mass of the bullet dropping there a little bit as it goes off into the distance. But there'll be more than that. The bullets will be faster than what you see in Planet Side, and you won't see the tracer rounds like you do in Planet Side either. Ooh, I even thought about this, like if we put tracer rounds in the game as a last resort thing, so like maybe tracer rounds are more common than non. You realistically, you don't want to shoot tracer rounds. The reason tracer rounds honestly exist is to be able to track a target with an automatic weapon at long range, or just a weapon in general, like every third bullet or high rate of fire every 15 bullets.
But if you really need ammo,
then you're stuck shooting some tracer bullets. Right? You're just lighting yourself up. You're like, he's on the hill.
That would actually be pretty cool, actually.
So people in chat are still asking about the prone and lean. We've talked about the lean. Lean I want to get in. That's kind of more of something you later on in early access or maybe a little bit later into beta. But the prone is something that we're working around right now. It's actually a very difficult problem to solve, and a lot of it's on the animators. It's getting the states added into that fancy network we saw earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
Inside of Morphine, which is that state machine. Essentially says when you go prone, play these animations, and then code needs to be able to change the collision boxes the proper way. And there's a lot of really fun things to solve there. But we do want to have prone in the game, absolutely. Third person right now, our shooting is a little borked, but it won't be. We want to match third and first person combat, at least for the basics right now. Oh god, I just ripped that guy.
Wrecked.
Right now, the only thing that's displaying in third person is the cylinder of fire. A lot of games use cone of fire. We use a little bit different of a system. Cone of fire essentially means that there's a sphere essentially in front, and a bullet can fly off that sphere in different directions. So it honestly could fly out left and right. That's not really proper for a gun. Cylinder of fire is more of it's going to pick a direction and go straight versus flying off in different directions. That's what we're working with here. It's a lot more accurate.
So we are cylinder of fire instead of cone of fire.
Yes, we are. We have support for both still in the game. And actually, there's a range bug that we've been trying to track down for a while now that we're starting to solve. It's getting better. You saw a couple of shots went off in the air. That was actually a tough bug to track down, but we found the issue and have mostly solved it. But third-person shooting will represent the same as first-person. You'll get the same recoil patterns and feel. I mean, obviously your camera's set back a little bit as well, so it'll have to be based on the distance away from your character, because obviously it'll feel like less in third person, but it's going to have the same degree difference in shot at range.
For sure. I see a lot of people talking about anti-cheat, and of course, I mean, we do not like hackers at Sony Online Entertainment, so you can trust that anti-cheat is definitely something that we're going to be monitoring closely, and anybody that is hacking or tries to hack will be dealt with accordingly.
So I just want to point out what you just saw there was way down on this side. There's a bullet flying from the hip.
You curved the bullet.
I curved the bullet, man.
That's
the reason that's happening right now is I have one of my states a little jacked up. On your movement state, it's too high, so the cylinder fire is being drawn like this big. So we need to pull that in, and that's an iron sight. So occasionally you'll see them fly off from the wrong directions, which not intended. That's a data side fix, not a code bug or anything like that. But right now, a lot of it's really been playing with tuning values. Feel free to pop some questions in chat. It's calmed down a little bit. I'm actually able to read things. I actually think Radar Z, formerly known as Radar, the community manager formerly known as Radar X.
We could just call him Prince now.
Yeah, I know, right? I think has the longest ever slow time I've ever seen on Twitch TV. He set it to like 10 minutes.
Nice.
I like it.
He has like a short fuse, so if you start if you start pissing him off too much, he's just gonna ban you.
So we were talking about anti-cheat a little bit ago, and I talked a little bit about it with Lyric on his stream, and some of you guys may have heard it. Name drop.
Name drop.
Man, I'm a huge fan of Lyric. I was so excited to get on there.
I like him too. He's freaking entertaining.
It's hilarious. But so what we talked about essentially is we have a lot of experience with this, and just to we can't talk about details of what we do because it's counterproductive, right? I mean, first rule of security is don't talk about security.
Well, yes, we're going to have anti-cheat, and this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if you haven't, revisit PlanetSide and really see what the community's like right now. I mean, we've, as an MMO company controlling everything on our server side, we eliminate a lot of the issues. We're not client authoritative. We have a lot of validation that happens behind the scenes, and beyond that, some special things that I don't even know about, so I can't blab about it.
Bill just wants to throw stuff at. He just wants to throw
Bill's
stuff
trolling us back here. But yeah, back into it real quick. We have recently switched, and actually, Bill, I got a quick thing. You probably can't hear Bill back here. I can reiterate what he says. What are you doing over here?
Spying.
Are you spying?
Espionage.
Espionage.
What is he working on?
What is he working on? You're getting a real behind the scenes.
You can hear me.
We're just making sure that he's actually working.
Oh no, we were just talking about the type of weapons we're putting in game and what we're doing to tune these. And
is he gonna make him dance?
I don't know.
Who's that guy over there? That handsome, young, strapping lad.
I don't know, Sean. Make him dance.
you talking about what's on the screen or Sean himself?
Make him.
We're trying to make you more productive.
I need some music. Yeah, sing, Bill.
Oh, solo mio.
Okay, don't sing.
Don't
Bill.
sing. Sorry, guys. Rip ears. So what about, I want to see, I know people keep talking about just showing the pistol.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so a couple people in chat had been asking for the bow, which right now we don't have implemented in the game
we could
just
show
yet.
that right now.
Yeah, we are working on the animation side of that stuff, so a lot of what I do requires the assets to be fully animated, because tuning these weapons is also tuning how they feel. So once those animations come in, we really need to see how that
I just
works.
want to be able to hunt for food and shoot the deer with the bow, like running, and then I aim, and then I let the bow go, just boom.
Well, the good news is we already have support for things like charge from Planet Side. Actually, we use that on the Lancer from the Vanu.
Nice.
So lots of Steam friends.
I do. They keep inviting me to play other games right now, but what they don't realize is I'm still at work. All right, but let's actually. I think I did. No, I didn't. The other one we're working on right now, which ignore the fact for you gun nuts out there that realize that it's equipped currently like an M16. We're working on that as we speak. Some of those are getting swapped out. This is and will be acting like an AR-15, calibrated at 5.56 versus like a 308 or anything weird like that.
So the first thing everyone asks is scopes?
Scopes, we want them in the game. We've had discussion on how we're going to handle scopes. Like, there's multiple ways to do it. Different games, some of them just do a in-game like 3D rendered model, and then they zoom into that.
Yeah.
And then we've also in Planet Side, we did both. We either did that at like a 3.4x magnitude.
And if you notice, the gun already has the rail.
Yeah.
So we put it in there. Yeah, I'm sure you guys put it in there on purpose.
You actually can't see the rail right now. This handles on it, but it's actually railed all the way back. Both sides are railed. It has grips on it right now.
Sweet. So definitely something we would like to do.
And actually,
keep an eye out. That's how you say it.
one of these states is a little screwed up right now, so it's like, his hand gets all crazy, like he's some sort of deformed person. So real quick question. We were talking about the AR-15 and I forgot where I was going with it. Oh, the bow. So all that we have left really, and Bill can speak a little bit to the art process of that, is we've got the bow made, where we got the bow in, we got it outfitted and everything to work properly. I think the only thing left is to get it rigged or like weighted properly for the string and everything. We get that in and animated.
Pretty much, where we're at with it is we need to get, it needs a morphine animation network.
Sure.
And then it also is going to need animations as well.
Just go put your chest next to his mouth.
Yeah.
Say that again.
I love you.
This is really awkward. I think I don't even want to know what just happened to me right now.
Hear me on camera. I think I'm talking loud enough. But yeah, it's pretty close to being ready. There's actually some technical issues, possibly with arrows as well, that we have to deal with. It's not like a fast-moving bullet. I know that sounds very weird, but
yeah. I mean, that's the kind of stuff though that we want to talk about tonight. Is like, you know, things like this are all things that we're willing to tackle and it's fun.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, Jimmy can probably tell you. There's a whole host of different weapons that I just started putting together and getting them ready, and there's all in various states. You know, like we want to have a revolver in the game. We talked about getting like a normal hunting rifle in the game. I'm trying to think. There was a few other categories of types of stuff.
Well,
and then obviously
shotgun.
Shotgun. That's right. A shotgun,
which would be a pump.
Yeah, there's a pump shotgun. It's actually the same kind of pump shotgun I had as a kid, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's like well, it honestly is.
It's literally the exact model that I had.
You had a pump shotgun as a kid?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I used to hunt. Yeah.
Oh sure, okay.
Yeah, I killed things.
Those poor rabbits.
No, they were pheasant.
Oh, okay. What about melee weapons?
We got a ton right now, but the
let me go ahead. I'm gonna get some of these ready to show.
Well, I shouldn't say a ton. We've got several. We're probably going to add more. You know, as we get melee more fleshed out. We kind of put the brakes on it because we're like, okay, we got to get melee a little more fleshed out, so we don't end up having a thing where we have to go back and do a million things over again because that's not going to work, or that needs to be a different style of attack now. So.
Definitely.
But yeah, the sky's the limit, really. I mean, there are some technical limits in the sandbox game. There's only so much memory. Like I tweeted out, why don't people have 4 gig video cards?
All right. What was the generic response was, why don't you buy me one?
Everyone's generic response was, just buy me one and I'll solve it. I wish that was the case.
Yeah.
So, but I think, you know, as we get to solve some of those problems, you'll see more and more stuff come online. And the other thing, too, is if you guys have cool ideas, you know, if you're posting on Reddit, or if you're gonna, you know, you can post on our forums. We'll look at it, and we're going to get cool ideas and see what we can come up with. I mean, if a lot of the stuff that's not impossible to put in. It's just a matter of what's the best thing to put in. So.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, really, what we wanted to do is make sure we had the weapons to cover our basics, right? And then we just kind of went nuts with and then we went nuts with the assets. And then when we're ready to start really fleshing those out, because once again, right now I'm tuning a pistol and a rifle to make sure that's going to feel the best, because realistically that covers a broad range of combat. And we're going to fill in those in between gaps, like the shotgun and some of the others. You were just talking about melee weapons. Yeah. We have a lot of assets right now. What we have in game currently, and we've been playing with first-person positions. Right now, you can kind of see this. Get your tetanus shot.
Is that a machete?
This is the machete. We've got the machete in right now. You guys have seen it in game, I think, on stream today.
It might be too rusty too. That's something that I've been I've been contemplating. Should everything be kind of really beat up, or? Well,
if it's rusty, to me, that tells me that it has low durability, and if it's pristine, then it's something that's going to last a while.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I haven't even. To be honest, I haven't brought that into my equations. But mine was more like, if you find something in the world, what's it going to look like?
Oh, sure. Definitely.
And but then the wild card with that is like, well, if you craft it, is it going to be rusty?
Right.
What is that, Jimmy?
Well, this is a combat knife. Okay. Right now, we're using a lot of the melee networks to be the same. As we stuff this stuff
and these melee speeds of how fast he's attacking and stuff is all not final.
I'm trying to find. Here's the one I was looking for. And
the Gordon weapon.
kind of an homage. Kind of a tip of the hat to one of my favorite games ever. Let's see. Let's move this up a little bit so you guys can actually see it. I don't like where it is.
Zombie.
That's a little too high.
That's a little too high. That is definitely the Gordon weapon when it's that high.
That was like present.
There you go.
Hello. It's like the cane. Oh, that's still too high.
Whoop.
Was it an animator just yelling there? He's like, "Oh, it hurts. Put it back."
That was.
But yeah, what you can see here is this has actually been my favorite weapon to play test so far. Crowbar is pretty easy to wield. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's super fast. And I'll be honest, we don't have a lot of FPS gamers in here, so it's funny to run circles around Mitch. I'm just hitting with the crowbar.
Circle straight for the crowbar.
Right.
Yeah.
Crowbar's fun. I actually got to find one in a play test before. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Go smack that fence post.
I don't know if those are breakable.
I don't know, maybe not in third person. Go in first person.
No, it works both ways.
No, I think they made it so that you can't smack them down anymore.
Why?
I think they're vehicle only.
See, the game changes so fast.
I know, we're pretty quick on the iterations. People in chat are asking about the head turning. Yes, we plan on doing that. That is something that we want as a feature in the game. I wonder if I got the new animations yet on the current build.
I love punching.
Put them on,
man. Come here.
I just want to get better at punching.
I really want to stream, when we get, the full boxing system in. I was talking with Favali about getting a good screen effect for getting punched in the face. And I'm just going to run around. There was actually a Elder Scrolls video a long time ago, the guy who built a character specifically to run around and punch people. There's going to be that guy in our game.
Dude, I made a Fallout character where all I did was have melee boosted to the max, and I just ran up to people and punched them in the face.
In our game, it's a little different, obviously, because you don't, boost your particular skill.
Yeah, you can't boost your punching.
But I really want to see the guy role-playing running around, because maybe fists are almost never your best option, but it's just dude, put the gun down, be a man. And
maybe down the line, brass knuckles, or something you can strap to your hands, and that's a new melee weapon.
Or maybe
pack your fist with a lighter.
Maybe we do it to where punching only does stamina damage. So you can't kill them, but
you can't kill them, but you
can make them so they can't move.
Oh man, that would be annoying.
Yeah, well, troll. Oh, as you guys have seen.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Cracker Jack troll.
That's right. But we've been on talking about a lot of this for a long time. I'm just going to pay attention to chat for a little bit and see what kind of other questions we have popping in. We can punch, but can we stab? I don't know what you mean by stab. Stab can mean a lot of different things. You can slash people right now. We don't have a stab stick yet. We've talked about
I don't think you can melee one stab a dude.
Yeah, I think the idea for knife though is we were thinking it's going to be a slash stab type weapon. We just have to do the animations for it. So.
Right. Yeah, we actually did for a proof of concept, see what it would feel like on our melee weapons, or particular melee weapons, that if you run up to a zombie, it just applies an ability. Once again, just for proof of concept, white boxing, the idea is hitting it and having it play the flinch and not be able to do anything during that flinch. And not to say we couldn't do that with players too, because we have screen effects, we have camera control, so once I punch you, maybe your head reels back and you get that
Yeah.
I keep saying it. I've asked a couple people on the team because I want to see how they feel about it, but I've been punched in the face a lot in my life. I boxed growing up, so it's like, it's not a cool feeling, and I want to emulate that sort of thing in game. Maybe that is the perk of punching.
Well, yeah, I think the
yeah, I know. I want to
causal-
punch him in the face too.
Yeah,
Once in a while.
the cause effect of
Yeah.
of an action is really a big thing in
Sure.
this. I think that's what we really want to do. And if you know, getting punched or even hit with a crowbar, it needs to have a little bit more effect than the the Rocky.
Right.
Like that doesn't.
What was that?
Did you do VO for Punch Out?
Yes. No, but I think we want to have it to where people, if you want to get a little backup shot, like if I get hit, it's like I don't want to go like this. I want to go
Right.
and then have to come back.
Sure.
And it's a slower paced combat, but that slows things down a lot. But it makes it feel like if I hit you, I just wailed on you.
Yeah.
Not.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
That's lame. We don't want to do that.
Right.
So
Wait.
I think getting more of that visceral, like I hit and then what I hit gets pushed and moves
Sure.
and staggers and
Well, and we don't want to make any promises here, but I mean, we've talked about lean in the past, and we started thinking of anytime we talk about a feature, this is legitimately, I kid you not, like I'll be sitting here and Bill will come by, we'll be talking to Kriegs about coding out a feature, and this is pretty much discussions we have every day. We actually had a discussion pretty close to this recently, but
several times recently.
several times, yeah, because we really want to get this feature in.
Yeah.
And but we talked about like anytime you add something, it's hard to tell what all parts of the game it's gonna touch. And I started thinking
true.
like the leaning. So I was thinking how hilarious it would be if like we get the leaning in, we get some good punching and like connect like actual detect on that punch. We get that knockback, the screen effect. You're gonna have people all day like, I challenge you to a duel, and like throwing the gun down, and they're gonna be like, they could lean out of the way it punches and things.
yeah.
And you've got a boxing game suddenly, which we didn't even intend, but it's in the future obviously, but it's like,
This is what you do. You get two Bambis, you take them hostage, you make them fight each other. And you
That's
have your
already been done.
You have your own entertainment in the boxing ring. But now we can have actually like real,
Right.
boxing, community-driven boxing.
we'll have like
Have
fight
you tried to-
clubs.
Have you tried,
Fight clubs,
Have you tried
yeah.
punching the deer?
Yeah, I saw Carrico earlier. Did you see what Carrico did on stream?
No, I wasn't watching when he was.
He crouched up behind one. He managed to find one that wasn't turning around, was kind of walking, and he crouched. The chat went nuts. He like crouched all the way up behind it, and then he's just going, and the deer was like freaking out and finally just booked it.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you
so
crouch,
funny.
if you crouch up to the deer, you won't startle them until you actually like hit them, and then they'll get all, oh my god, and they'll start running away.
very nice. That's good.
It's very, very nice. As I'm getting punched in the face here, but take another quick look at chat, see what we got going on. But yeah, I mean that's the kind of stuff that we want to do, and that's what's exciting about sandboxes. The more features, the more basic features we get in the game to support the gameplay we want, really spiders out and touches all different parts of it, and people eventually start realizing, oh god, I can lean while I'm punching, or Planet Side 2 is a perfect example. Like Clegg, me, and Bill worked on that game, and we intended for something to happen a certain way, and it never will. So it's exciting on this game especially.
I have a play group of people that I play, all these survival games with, DayZ, Rust, and we have a code where they go, instead of saying, is that you, they would just go,
Right? No, sure.
and so,
Right.
it's like, it's me, you don't have to like go
Right.
and ask them. It's pretty funny. So that's like things you can do with lean.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, Borat confirmed in chat. Can we host servers? No. Scientech asked that in chat. We will not be allowing you guys to do that. The good news is, though, that we're going to be allowing the votes to happen, and Smed's talked about on Reddit. If you're curious, you can read up more specifically on that, hosting player servers on there. What's up?